I started driving in this gig economy in October of 2015. I started with Uber, the rideshare platform. That was at the time back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I've been thinking after 5 years and really driving on most every single app and most every single niche in this gig economy. In this video, I want to take a step back. And as we round the corner into 2021 or whenever you're watching this video, I want to give you very real world advice and probably some honest truth about driving in the gig economy. See, a lot of these apps, they're not hard. With rideshare, with food delivery, really with anything you can think of. With scooter charging, with Lime and Bird scooters, if that's still a thing in your marketplace. The fact is, a lot of these apps are not hard to actually do. And I always say that's what makes them hard, because there's a low barrier of entry. Just pass a background check, have the vehicle, have the insurance. Sometimes you don't even need a vehicle. So you pass all that, and then you're online just a couple of weeks later, and hey, now you can start making some money. But I want to tell you, after 5,000 trips and transactions on the different apps here, in different marketplaces as well, now I'm coming to you from San Diego, California. I want to talk about some stressors that you are most likely to experience when you're on the road. If you're new or if you're experienced, and this is going to have to do with actual stressors when you're on the road, in addition to what you're probably thinking about, that is pay. Let's talk about pay first, because that's obviously probably the biggest thing that you're thinking about. Now, when I started in 2015, I was doing it part-time. Let me know in the comments if you're doing this part-time or full-time. And I was working the 9 to 5. Now, transition a couple of years later here in San Diego, I was working for a company, a 9 to 5 job here, right? And that company went under. And I found myself really hurting because I was owed thousands of dollars in back pay. And, I was driving part-time, but to have that money faucet basically turned off, I turned to the gig economy full-time. So I spoke with a driver a couple of days ago, and let me know if you're in the same boat here. But he told me that he was so tight with driving that he could only make enough money to afford the gas in his vehicle. And of course, anything extra was extra money, but he was that tight on margins. And I gotta be real with you, back in 2018 when that whole mess happened and I was really forced to do this full time, I was in a similar scenario, really sweating to pay the expensive rent here in San Diego and, let alone all the other bills, and not having, I kid you not, really not having any additional discretionary spending money. So if you're driving for these apps, part-time or full-time, it doesn't matter. And you're in a tight spot right now, especially as we're coming up on the holidays. First off, respect to you, because I've been in that boat, driving literally on DoorDash and hoping that I could get enough peak pay and hoping I could get a high enough order because I was running low on gas and I couldn't even afford gas. I want to let you know that if you build a framework, if you're investing in starting a business, if you're investing in trying to get a full-time job because you've been unemployed, look at the landscape that we're currently in. And you're doing these apps, again, respect to you for doing these apps because it's not easy. There's stressors on the road, there's safety stresses, there's pay stresses as well. But it can get better, especially if you're building something for yourself and you're doing this to get by right now, or if you're doing this just as side income. Because the goal of this channel is your success in this gig economy. I want to make as much money as possible, and I want you to make as much money as possible. I don't want you to waste your time when you're out there. That's why there's tips, tricks, and strategies across all these other apps, best practices that I've found that work. But this is a team here. I am one driver, and I appreciate every single one of you that's here on the channel that have allowed me, luckily, to do this full time. And as just one driver, I'm sharing my experience, what I think are best practices, but this is a team. That's the whole premise of this channel here. So we can talk on YouTube, we can talk on Discord, because I'm not always right. We all make mistakes. So I make mistakes on the road and then you learn from those and I try to share them here with you. Next, let's talk about stressors on the actual road, because this is a very real thing. Experience it on really every single app. Stressors with these apps, or again, just with driving in general, because I know from experience, if you're stressed about money, things on the road, things on these apps are only going to amplify that. I want you to remember that you're working hard on these apps. It doesn't matter if you're doing it full-time or as a side hustle. You're working, you're grinding, you're hustling on these apps here to make money. Try to remember you're doing more than most. You're trying to probably take control of your income. That's a lot of the reason why I started in the first place. I was working a 9 to 5. I had a salary, but I wanted to take charge of my income. So when you're on the road, if there's issues with the app, if there's super long waits at restaurants, it's a third restaurant with a massive delay, or it's something that a customer did, or something that you saw with another driver on the road, or something with a passenger if you're doing rideshare. I know it's hard. You gotta shake it off. You gotta be in the right mindset of success, not only with your money, trying to have best practices when you're driving, but also mentally. Don't let those things affect you. It's gonna affect your mood. You're gonna bring it back home, what have you. It's gonna affect your decision-making process on these apps. So take this video as a pause. I think we all needed that. We needed a pause from all these tips, tricks, and strategy videos just to take a second, to not try and worry about these stressors with money, with stressors with these apps and stressors on the road. And I get it. I still get stressed with these apps and being on the road with things with other drivers. I get it. But to try your best to not let it affect you, because I want you to be laser focused on maximizing your success on these apps to make the most money possible. Because if you do that, if you hit your earnings goals, which you should have earnings goals, then I feel like you're going to be in the right mindset, hitting your goals. I understand that your personal situation is unique. Your app, your marketplace, your money situation, again, your personal situation. What I try to do here is provide my best practices from my experience. But again, I'm not always right. That's why I'm glad this is a team. We can have that back and forth dialogue. But I appreciate you being here. If you're not a part of the team, I invite you to join the team here. We have a great community. And I will try to keep bringing you the very best tips, tricks, and strategies in this gig economy. So try not to be stressed out there. I think this was a good reset. And I'll see you in the next video.